Hello there and welcome to the channel. This is your boy, STD, also known as Senpai Torpid Dow, bringing you a little bit of content on the new Sisters of Battle drop that we've got for Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector. Now what I want to talk to you today about is a good build to play Daemonic Incursion. Now Daemonic Incursion, you can take as many units as you want, up to 3,000. If you take fewer, then you will actually get more points. Now this build is not designed to maximize point score on the leaderboard because I haven't had time to do that yet. The DLC has just dropped and I only had a little bit of time in the beta to actually get this footage. So I've done a little bit of playing around with it. Now I actually am going to test something live that I didn't manage to test entirely in the beta, so we'll see how that goes. But generally the build is going to be as follows. You're going to be fighting a lot of ranged units that are going to chip away at you. For this reason, getting chaff is not very useful. So Acroflagellants, Sisters Repentia and Battle Sisters are pretty useless. Seraphim are nice with the Inferno pistols to hunt down enemy vehicles, but the problem is when you jump in to kill a soul grinder, what often happens is another wave of enemies spawns in, runs forward and chops them to pieces in melee. And the evasion buffs that they get, they can be helpful, but honestly I don't think it's really worth it. I think the main core of your army with the Sisters that you want to be relying on is your Retributors with heavy bolters and your Rhinos. So your Rhinos are the only thing in the entire roster that heals itself. I mean, other factions, they don't heal themselves, but they can heal their vehicles like crazy. You can't do that with the Sisters of Battle. You can only heal your infantry, and your infantry are super weak. They're very fragile. The exception, I thought, was gonna be the Paragon Warsuits, but it turns out they're vehicles. They're not even like Terminators. So literally, if you look at the HP of all your infantry, it's super low. Celestians are the highest with 65, and the Sacrosancts get their damage reduction on their shield, but nah, they're trash, because you're just going to get blown up by skull cannons from afar, and it's going to suck. And you're going to lose models to soul grinders, and it's going to suck. Now listen, the skull cannons do take 2 shots to wipe out a Celestian squad, and you will see, or a Retributor squad. And you see I do have some, because I'm trying to do this challenge with cohesion, so I'm not just spamming Rhinos and Retributors, or Rhinos and Immolators. We're trying to use cohesion. So there's a limit of 3 Rhinos maximum. So what you do is you got 3 Rhinos, so you get 6 Retributors. You can put 10 models into a Rhino, so you can put 2 squads of Retributors into each Rhino and ferry them about. Now Retributors have their Storm of Retribution ability, which removes all movement points, and in return gives you extra bullets, extra shots and extra AP on a cooldown of 3. So you're using the Rhino for mobility with the Retributors, and the Retributors want to be focusing on the long range targets, because as the Sisters of Battle, you know, you've got your Holy Trinity of Flamers, Bolters and Melters, but unfortunately Flamers and Melters, they're very short range. So ideally you'd want to be using Melters against things like Soul Grinders and Skull Cannons, but they're too short range. If you push forward in order to try and hunt those units, you're going to get wrecked, because you're going to get shot to pieces. And you also risk reinforcements spawning in and attacking you from behind. Therefore, we're going to try and kill Skull Cannons and Soul Grinders using heavy bolters. So we need the Rhino to keep the Retributors mobile, and also, when the Retributors are inside the Rhino, they can't be blasted then by the Skull Cannons. So that's great. That said, it leaves us with a little bit of a problem when it comes to dealing with enemy chaff, specifically Fleshhounds and Bloodletters then, because you're going to see a lot of them. And that's where Flamers come in. You don't really want to be relying on bolters. Even the grenades from the Battle Sisters, it can take 3 grenades to wipe out a squad of Fleshhounds. That is awful. You do not want to be spending 3 of your precious 20 units taking out 1 Fleshhound. That is horrendous. So you have options. You could take the Flamer on the Immolator, but you'll notice I'm not doing that. I'm taking the heavy bolters because I want more options to deal with Skull Cannons and Soul Grinders from a long range, because those are the primary threats that can kill my models and can hurt my vehicles, and I can't repair my Immolators as the Sisters of Battle, and I can't repair my Paragon Warsuits. If a Soul Grinder's cannon is shooting at your Retributors, very likely, on high difficulties, every shot will kill one model. So then, you know, you're losing ladies, I was going to say men, you're losing soldiers slowly over time. So I take heavy bolters in order to deal with the skull cannons and the soul grinders on my immolators, therefore I need flamers elsewhere. Therefore, I have heavy flamers on my Paragon Warsuits that will one-shot even hellhounds, fleshhounds that is. You also, the reason why the Paragon Warsuits are nice is you get the Paragon Grenade Launcher. Now you do only get 3 uses of this per unit, so that's 6 uses in total on a cooldown of 3, but it's very nice to get that AoE splash damage every so often because it doesn't take up an AP. So if you get overwhelmed by a mass attack of Bloodletters or Fleshhounds, you can use this ability to hurt them. Then you have some Celestians with Flamers. These guys are super cheap. 70 points, 20 extra for the Flamer, so 90 points in total, but they will one-shot Bloodletters. I don't believe they actually can one-shot Fleshhounds without a damage buff. However, you got the Sister Superior, so you use her mostly for damage buffs. You'll notice I've fully kitted her out. I can just fit it in with a cost, and that's because my Cannonness has no gear. Why? Because you're going to throw away your Cannonness right at the start of the mission. The reason being, that then triggers Honor the Martyrs for the rest of your army. So then for the rest of the Daemonic Incursion, all the rest of your troops in the army are going to get plus 50% momentum gains. And you need that because the Sisters of Battle, the Sisters of Battle gain extra momentum when they take damage. But the whole point of this game mode is you don't want to be taking damage because A, if you take too much damage, you can't repair your vehicles, and B, if you take too much damage on your infantry squads, you can't bring the models back. You're not Necrons, so you don't want to be taking damage, and that means you're not going to get a lot of momentum. So the little bit of momentum that you do get is just the natural momentum that you get from killing units. So having plus 50% momentum gains is going to be extremely useful. And then when you get reinforcements, you can call in the Cannonness then. Because you do want a Cannonness, I believe. Her ability, Word of the Contempt, super useful against Soul Grinders and Bloodthirsters. Lower their evasion so you can obliterate them from long distances with your heavy bolters. And the HP buff doesn't hurt. It is actually technically a way to heal. And then the other thing, you've got 2 Hospitalers. The reason why, you want the healing, because Skull Cannons can 2-shot Retributors or Celestians, but the splash damage will not actually kill a model straight away with 1 shot. So if you get hit by 1, you can just heal it off with a Hospitaller. So that's great. Obviously, if they have 2 Skull Cannons and they shoot with the same unit, which they don't do very often to be honest, but if they do, then it's going to wipe you anyway. But it's not like the Hospitaller is useless. They're actually really tanky. They are the tankiest HP unit in terms of... Sorry, they are the tankiest HQ unit in terms of their HP per cost. They've got the highest HP for the cost of any HQ unit. But they don't actually have good weapons themselves, only having a bolt pistol. But you've got Rites of Intercession, which you can use every 3 turns to give an extra AP and bonus HP to one of your nearby units. So again, this is a way of effectively healing, kind of, but you can give an extra AP to your Retributors. Now unfortunately it doesn't affect Vehicles, Walkers and Acroflagellants, so you can't give yourself an extra AP to your Immolator, which really sucks, but you can give it to your Celestians to kill another Bloodletter squad in 1 turn. You can give it to your Retributors to do extra damage against enemy key targets. So let's go into Daemonic Incursion here with the Adepta Sororitas playing on Company Captain difficulty. We've got our set army there, and we're going to have reinforcements of 250. Now again, if you're going for score, then you don't have to do this. If you're going for score, then the smaller your initial army, the more score you're going to get. The greater quantity of demons that you kill, the more army, the more points you're going to get, and a few other things. But I'm not doing that at the moment. I'm just trying to bloody win, because that's a good starting point, right? We can deal with score later on. I'm not particularly interested in that myself, but if you are, then fair enough. So generally I like to put my Rhinos at each of these different flanks. I don't know where the enemy is going to attack from at first, so I think it's good to have your vehicles on the edges, so if there are any Skull Cannons, they take the shots from the Skull Cannons and not your Retributors, your Paragons, or your Celestians, because they're all a lot more vulnerable. So something like this is a fine opening. Let's go. Now I want to sacrifice my Cannonness right at the start. And you see, because we're playing on a high difficulty, straight away we're going to encounter a Soul Grinder on the east side there. Along with a whole bunch of Bloodletters. So let's speed this up a bit. Let's see if that Soul Grinder can actually get a shot off. Of course it can. It's going to fire straight away at the Paragon Warsuits, and look at that damage. Nearly killing one of my models of Paragon Warsuits right at the start. Really, really awkward.
We move to execute the unclean. What is your command?
So let's just put our Retributors inside the Rhino. I really wish that you could just heal these guys. You know, they're not that tanky at 147. They're okay. But I feel like you should just be able to repair them. Game said no. Game said no. So you can see we've got Bloodletters chilling out here. We need to burn them. What's my max range on this? 3 is not my max range, my optimal range. So I'm actually gonna hold off from moving much further forward here.
In his light.
So I can move up with the Rhino.
For Catherine, for eternity. Faith guides my feet to walk the righteous path.
Bring the Celestians forward. We'll use this ability soon. Not yet.
In Catherine's footsteps. None shall best me.
So I've got these heavy flamers, which should be pretty handy. Taking these things out. Let's see if...
With faith, we will conquer the galaxy.
Where do we want to go here? See if we can... I don't really like this positioning here from the Immolator.
None shall best me.
Now I'll tell you what, fuck it, just move up.
We will conquer the galaxy.
Activate this crap. Where's my Sister Superior gun? Oh, she's over here. Okay, fine. Activate that on them. Then move back. You move forward.
Burns bright.
So this is the beautiful little combo here. You can move forward, shoot, and then you can move back.
We move to execute the
So we get perfect accuracy there. Heavy Bolter's obviously not really designed to kill Bloodletters, but it's better than nothing, I suppose.
It will be done.
That's the Bloodletter. So we can move the Celestians over here, overwatch this area, and then they'll burn the Bloodletters as they come through. See if we can finish them off. We can do moderate damage to say the least. Well, I suppose I can move forward. The Flamers here should take one of them out. These guys aren't actually going to get much done, I'm realising now.
His iron will. None shall best me.
Okay, let's shoot at the Soul Grinder. So not a tremendous amount of damage here on the Soul Grinder, unfortunately. But we're chipping away at it, and this is where, when you're playing the Tyranids, and you've got crazy long Venom Cannon damage from your warriors, with the Death Spitters, you've got the actual Venom Cannons on the Hive Tyrants themselves. Yeah, I mean, it just... You definitely miss it, that's for sure. Or Necrons with their Death Marks. the other long-range Gauss weaponry you get. I don't even know what the name of them are, but it's just so much easier to deal with the long-range things. Like, look at that, the Soul Grinder straight away just killed one of my Retributors. There isn't really much counterplay. There's nothing you can do to stop them doing that. It's very annoying. And there, we've just lost 67 HP there on our Bloodletters. And again, there's not really anything we can do to prevent that.
The enemy comes. We
can't heal that off, so it's way harder.
We are taking hits.
So they got that buff from the Hospitaller there, so they can do their double attack, the Celestians. So they wipe the other squad of Bloodletters. Now, you can also capture supplies on the map, crates, and you see one spawning in there, almost like I knew that was going to happen. I didn't. The crates are pretty nice, but they do lower your score though. So again, if you're going for score, then you don't want to be doing that. But it's up to you. So we'll get a little bit of damage over here, and I'm going to just charge my Cannonness forward. I want her to die so I get more momentum gains. You see, so I killed like 2 models of Bloodletters and maybe 6, and I've only got 29 momentum. And isn't this with the momentum buff? Yeah, and that's with a momentum buff as well. So momentum is a problem for the Sisters of Battle, and I think it really hurts them in this game mode, but what can you do?
Into battle!
Not a lot, really. So I'm going to just let these charge at me. They've only got 5 movement speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so they can just about reach me.
None shall pass.
And then we'll deposit our heavy bolter ladies out of there. No longer need these guys hanging around there. Can actually come over, probably use their swords soon.
For Catherine, for eternity.
And she can just get started on chopping up this Soul Grinder. Only has a power sword, not a blessed blade that allows her to attack twice. So no crazy damage there, but you know, it's something.
Faith guides my feet to walk the righteous path.
And you guys should just get back in the Rhino and redivert.
None shall best me. Rhino.
So it's annoying, I can't really use the heals from the Hospitaller, even though the Soul Grinder attacked my Retributors. It just instantly killed a model, so the healing's pointless, and then you can't actually heal Paragon Warsuits because they, for whatever reason, count as vehicles. So here we go, we've got Bloodthirst, a couple more Blood Crushers en route.
Targets moving outside our weapons range.
So in terms of reinforcement options, there's quite a few decent ones actually. The Celestians with the Flamers are nice later on, in particular when I've noticed in some of the later waves they just spam you with Bloodletters. Absolutely loads of them. And if you just have heavy bolters, you will struggle to kill them quick enough. So in that instance, getting some Celestians with Flamers can be quite nice. I suppose you could also try Seraphim with hand Flamers in that instance. The benefit of the Seraphim, they'd cost you a bit more, but of course with that jump, if they spawn in an awkward position, they might actually have more chance of surviving and actually making it into proper combat. So you could try both of them. The reinforcements by default give you 250 points worth of reinforcements. So, is that double slug gold cannon? Oh, that's very annoying. Alright, let's chop these up and let's move down here. So with 250 points being the default, it perfectly sets you up to get double Penitent engines, which can be okay actually. Penitent engines aren't great because they're not very tanky, so they kind of get wrecked quite quickly, and again, you can't heal them, which is annoying. That said, They're cheap, they kill bloodletters really quick, they've got melee attacks, so if they spawn in an awkward position and get caught in melee, they're not useless. So, you know, there's value to the Penitent Ninjas for sure. They're not useless. It would be a mistake to think they are. So let's just shoot at these with heavy bolters. Not going to do a great amount of damage because we're partially line of sight blocked. But I don't really have any other better targets at the moment. We can come down and give them a slap with these paragons, I suppose. Should do quite well.
Will fall before me.
The Paragon swords really do a lot of damage, so it's once again quite effective. Now I want to retain my heavy flamer here, so I don't want to use them because I want to use the heavy flamer against this sort of stuff. But I also want to be using hang on, where do we want to go here? Let's go over here. I want to be using my heavy bolters to deal with the skull cannon.
Bolter, melter, and flamer. We purge the unclean.
See if we can actually get a model kill. We're attacking a different model now, so I'm guessing not. But the splash damage here from the power sword, yeah, that's gonna wipe them out, which is nice. That's what I want. Oh, and she even gets the buff. Sweet. The extra AP from Faith and Fury. Awesome. So let's kill the Blood Crusher with the Sister Superior, and then what we can do over here is we can move the Paragons over to... where do we want to move them to?
Transport awaiting command.
Let's move these forward slightly. We could actually just place them here, to be fair. So you disembark the Retributors,
We move to execute the
and they are now within range 4, so that's perfect range to shoot at the Skull Cannon. But I'm not going to use my ability that removes their MP for more bullets, because I actually want to move them away.
Rhino ready.
Don't want them stood at the front lines when there's this many bloodletters there. So again, we shoot at them, and then we pull back.
Standing by.
I could do with kind of moving her. Now, I don't actually know, if you use Battle Sermon, does it buff the units inside the Rhino? Or just the Rhino? Let's try it out. Let's try that out. I'm going to move you here.
At the front.
So I can put it here.
We move to execute the unclean.
Disembark these and then rotate the Rhino away. So the Rhino can now go down here. Turn you face the correct direction.
What is your command?
See if we can kill it with one more round of heavy bolter shots. And then the Storm Bolter. Yeah, awesome. So unfortunately, we can't hit this guy because we're getting blocked by the bloodletters, which is pretty annoying.
We move to execute the unclean.
But to be honest, we kind of need to kill the bloodletters anyway. So
With faith, we will conquer the galaxy.
What is your command?
So let's just do that. Let's just shoot the bloodletters. We're not going to kill this thing anyway. So we'll move here, shoot the bloodletters, move to the left, then the Paragon Warsuit can come across and can overwatch a little bit. As you can see, the heavy bolter is not great against the bloodletters, and that's why the flamers are so nice. Super cheap on the Celestians and just one-shot them. Now, I could use the Paragon grenade launchers here, but I just don't think it's very necessary, to be honest. Actually, one thing I can do as well, I can...
Yes.
buff these to have another shot.
Heavy weapons ready.
For whatever that's worth. Let's see. Yeah, it kills another couple of bloodletters, so that has value. That has some sort of value. Now, what else are we doing? So, these guys, they've already moved. You can move up a little bit further. Do you have... Yeah, they've got the Retributors inside and there's some Celestians over there. So...
Who needs my aid?
I mean... Technically, we can... send out more Retributors.
I am his.
I do want my Cannonness to die, I must admit. That is something that we want. Let's bring a few more of them out.
We move to
Oh, I never checked if they get the extra damage.
Heavy weapons ready.
It doesn't look like they do, no. So that buff there, the Battle Sermon, will not affect units inside of a vehicle. They've got to actually get out of it, which is a bit of a shame, really. Reduces the Rhino synergy ever so slightly. But, you know.
What is your command?
Still good to have around, I suppose. So let's just finish off this Bloodletter squad, because what you don't want to happen if you have one model, and I don't know if the AI actually will do it intentionally or if it's just by coincidence, but I'm overwatching my Flamers here. They could send the one model in, waste my Flamer attack, and then 8 Bloodletters get to attack my Paragons. Now, if those Bloodletters want to move in, they're all going to get wiped out. Guaranteed, they can't make that play. But again, the Skull Cannon gets a free shot, so if it chooses to shoot at anything other than the Rhino, then I'm going to take losses. And that sucks.
Vigilant, sisters.
You know, even if they're shooting at the Immolator, is that double Bloodthirsters? It's not, right? Even if they shoot at the Immolator, I can't heal that, so it's still a loss.
You are unworthy of his light.
So, what I think I want to do here is I want to sort of pull my units away. I don't really want to be here anymore. Now, I know that no more units are spawning in. If this was the start of the wave, I would not send my Paragons this deep down here, because then when enemies have the potential to spawn in here, they can then rush me, and that would be rather sad. So let's see what kind of damage the Paragons can do here with their swords. They do like 1.5 times optimal ranged heavy bolters. So, yeah. I mean, it's okay. It's not anything really to be writing home about. So, let's move the Rhino forward slightly. Let's move them down here. We're going to shoot through the Rhino, I believe. Actually, if I move here... Yeah, that does actually take 2 MP, but it's fine, we have 2 MP to spare, so... Retributors fire. You see the heavy bolters do really good damage against the Blood Crushers.
Rhino ready.
Heavy weapons ready.
This is a bit awkward. I'm gonna have to move my Rhino back. Actually, I could put them in the other Rhino, which might be a shout. Yeah, you know what, let's do that.
Into battle!
So let's shoot some Stone Bolters. You get in that Rhino. One of these Retributors then can't get in a Rhino, so needs to just leg it, which can be this lady. In fact, yeah, I'm going to move her here, and I'm going to use the Storm of Retribution, and maybe we can kill the Skull Cannon? I don't know, there's only 4 models actually, so probably not. No. That's fine. Where's our other Hospitaller? She's all the way over here, so I can't reach to give them another AP, so that's sad. But I can kill it with the Immolator, which is what I will do.
Moving into position.
This is why I like the Heavy Bolter Immolator, just the range is very nice. Will this kill? Those twin-linked Heavy Bolters are really crap. Maybe they're not the shout. I don't know. It's up to you guys. let's have a look at the damage. Yeah, like the Pintle mounted heavy bolter does so much more damage for some reason. Why is the damage so low on these? Only 3 to 4 damage versus the 6 to 8 on the Pintle mounted. That's odd.
Heavy weapons ready.
Yeah, it does less damage than the normal heavy bolters. That is very, very strange. Anyway, what can you do?
Destroy them and move swiftly onwards.
1 HP. Brilliant. So what we'll do here, we will move forward with these slightly. No, we can't get a good angle of attack anyway, which is a bit of a shame. Let's just shoot at the Bloodthirster, and then we're going to get back into the Rhino.
What is your command?
Move over here, shoot at these Blood Crushers because I just want to remove them from the board. And Celestian's not going to achieve too much right now,
Moving into position.
because all these guys, there's no chaff, so to speak. So we'll move these Celestians over here, grab some loot, see what we get. I should have actually done that at the start, because it could have given me extra movement speed. But we get Infusion of Vitality, so a little bit of HP. For not a very good buff actually, because it only lasts for 1 turn. But that is actually a way to heal my vehicles, so, you know. Yeah, I mean, you've got to appreciate that when you're playing as the sisters. Normally you can't heal your vehicles.
None shall best.
Right, what else do we want to do here? Not a whole lot really, to be honest. The Bloodmasters fortunately don't have a lot of movement range, only 1, 2, 3, 4, so they could hit anything from here. So we will just stay far away. The Blood Crushers do not do a lot of anti-vehicle damage. Now the khorne units get a bonus when they charge, and it basically protects them from Overwatch.
Rhino ready. Yes. Our duty awaits at the front.
With faith we serve.
Transport awaiting command.
Quite lucky really that I actually was able to finish off that skull cannon.
In every shadow I find heresy.
Yeah, just move them back and see what happens from there, I suppose.
With haste.
I must admit, this mode can be quite arduous, especially when you're playing as the Necrons and you're trying to maintain high levels of momentum. You end up having to do a lot of what I'd call movement chores, where you're just forced to keep moving, even though there's not really any tactics going on. It's just something that you've got to do. Oh god, look at the Heavy Flamers versus the Blood Crushers. Beautiful. Do they actually one-shot Blood Crushers? That is amazing if they do. So yeah, you can obviously see here Blood Masters and Bloodthirsters can actually call in extra Bloodletter reinforcements, which is annoying.
Rhino ready.
We move to execute the unclean.
So we kind of just want to reposition ourselves now to take on this Bloodthirster. I'm actually going to heal up the Cannonness, even though I do want her to die.
We will conquer the galaxy.
Oh, she's got that bolt pistol. well. It's very weird. It's like a crossbow, which, you know, is kind of like a pistol, but it's not. It's a bolter. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. And I think with my Sister Superior, I'm gonna buff these Paragons. Nope, can't, because they're... Oh, no, I can't. I thought it was only infantry she could buff, but no, she can't, which is nice. She can buff all sorts of things. So, I guess we might as well move them forward a little bit.
None shall best me.
And move the Rhino forward a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately, these guys are a little bit out of range, actually. I didn't realise that. Whoops.
Standing by.
With faith, we will conquer the galaxy.
1, 2, 3, 4, so they could technically hit me. That's really annoying. I just want to take out the Bloodmasters. But yeah, these twin-linked heavy boulders are not really achieving as much as I thought they might. I didn't realise the damage was so low on them. If they were actually as effective as the pintle-mounted heavy bolter, then they'd be pretty damn good. But they're not, so...
We are invincible.
Maybe they're not a
in
good
his
idea.
light.
None shall best me.
Faith guides my feet to walk the righteous
Now
path.
these are going to do amazing damage. Yeah, so 2 Retributors like that will kill the Bloodmaster quite easily. Which is making the Immolator look a little bit sad, to be honest. But we can do some Overwatch here, and they're going to be quite safe. And then we can pull him back a little bit. And you too. In fact, pull him there so he's protecting that side. There is an option for Rites of Intercession, but I don't actually think it's particularly useful to use that at the moment. In fact, I'm going to move them like so. And probably next turn we will use the damage buff with a Sister Superior.
Iron will.
Again, not really too relevant right now. Fleshhound's over there though.
Standing by.
Must admit, the Immolators are not impressing me right now. For how expensive they are, the damage output really isn't great. So let's move them back a little bit and deposit them there, and then they can run down this way.
To execute the unclean. Purge these abominations.
And I think... I wish I didn't put my Cannonness here so that I could deposit Retributors here and then move them through. Which I can't do now. What's the best option then? I wanna Overwatch over here. I think what I'll do is put the Rhino here. Have them come out here and then sort of rotate down and around.
The unclean. We move to execute the unclean.
The Rhino should probably try and help kill those Bloodletters. Yeah, I can block with the Rhinos basically. So that's fine. This is kind of what you want to be doing, kind of. It's not perfect execution, but you know, it's close. A couple of Bloodletters is not really going to do significant damage. Fleshhounds, they do, as far as I'm aware, less damage in melee as a unit. No, not really. They actually do the same damage, they just have less AP. Because they've got the... They actually do more damage to infantry because of the fact that the Fleshhounds will attack twice. And there is, what, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 bloodletters, but 5 flesh hounds, so that's 10 versus 8 attacks. But yeah, Hellblades on the bloodletters doing a fairly significant amount of extra damage in terms of the AP. But the flesh hounds do get a special ability where they can, within 2 tiles, do AoE damage to infantry. Well, AoE damage to anything, but to the vehicles it really isn't that strong. But Bloodmaster has managed to sneak in, that's very annoying. Because he's a HQ unit, he actually gets 2 attacks, but I dodge it, wow. Very lucky with 7 evasion.
We are taking hits.
Yeah, those bloodletters just get wrecked. Heavy Flamer actually hurts my Immolator quite a lot. Speed on that bloodletter.
They challenge us.
Yeah, so that's fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use Words of Contempt from our Cannonness on the Bloodthirster. I do want the Cannonness to die.
For Catherine.
Yeah, I'm healing her.
For
I
eternity.
know, it's madness. So this is just a normal Bloodletter squad. Can probably actually kill it with Hospitalers, which is quite hilarious. Now the Bloodmaster, on the other hand, how do we want to deal with that? I think first things first, let's rotate these guys around here so they're not blocking things.
With haste.
And just shoot at the Bloodthirster.
Abominations.
Hospitaler can pew 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 against that Bloodletter. Don't know if it's going to kill it. Nope, of course not. Of course not. What about the Rhino Stormbolter?
Swiftly onwards.
Yeah, sufficient.
Yes.
Good. So now the Cannonness can actually move forward.
Fire and fury.
I am his iron will.
Bolter, melter, and flamer. We purge the unclean.
Yeah, this heavy bolter damage is really bad on these Immolators. Not impressed.
Fire and fury.
I'm going to take the damage on my Immolator here, I think. Am I, or can I save it? No, what am I talking about? It's pointless. I'm going to save it for sure.
Moving into position.
None shall best me.
We are
I
invincible.
wonder how much damage
In
these
his
Celestians will
light.
do. Let's find out. Let's find out. The armor on this thing is 6, which is quite high for a flamer to be dealing with. Yeah, it's probably too high.
For our armor. They test our resolve.
Yep, that is too high. That does not help me very much. Let's move the Paragons down. They can just chop him up in melee. Alternatively, I can shoot him with this. No, I'm not going to bother doing that.
Moving
I'm
into
actually going to shoot the... Am I going to shoot the Bloodletters? Yeah, I am, because I want to use the Paragons in melee over here. Or I could use them down here. That'll do less damage, though. Sweet. So here's the power of the Paragons. Slays him pretty easily. And now I can pull that away. Now we can move the Cannonness forward and fight a Bloodthirster.
Go back to the wall.
Back to the warp. A Bloodthirster that doesn't retaliate for
Heavy
some reason.
weapons ready.
I actually don't know why he didn't retaliate there. A little bit confused about that. Move the Immolator up and shoot those Bloodletters.
What is your command?
And I'd like to put those Retributors back in the Rhino where they belong.
We move to execute the
These Celestians can move up and cover everyone else with their flamers, and it's good to retain a general central position on the map.
I am his iron will.
I'm really confused as to why the Cannonness didn't get attacked by the Bloodthirster there, but
heavy weapons.
hey ho, whatever. Is what it is. So let's just shoot with these guys down here onto the Fleshhounds. I don't know if that'll kill it. It doesn't matter, we should just be able to wipe everything now.
It will be done. What is your command? We move to execute the unclean.
This thing range 2, so oh yeah. So one of the cool things about the heavy flamers is they're actually range 2. So what I can do...
We
hang on.
are invincible in
Damn
his
it,
life.
I keep thinking the Paragon Warsuits are infantry. I was going to do Rites of Intercession on them,
Heavy
but it's not going to help me.
Ready.
Oh, it's fine. I forgot I have the Sister Superior still. She actually has a plasma pistol right now, so it's going to do some good damage against the Bloodthirster. It's not going to kill it. It's not going to kill it. I wanted it to kill it.
Yes.
For crying out loud. So we use Rites of Intercession,
None shall
Flamer
rest
them,
me.
and then this is a key strategy. Before you end your turn, or before you kill the final enemy for this wave, I've still got more movement. I want to be bringing my units more central as far as I can. So that's something you generally want to be doing. And there you
With
go.
faith, we will conquer the galaxy.
So, Sister Superior finished off the Bloodthirster, and that's the wave end. So it's a little bit awkward actually, because what you're meant to do now is go to reinforcements with your 250 and call in the Cannonness, but unfortunately I can't do that. Also, there seems to be a problem with the DLC right now because I don't have access to the units. I've only got the free units. I don't know what's going on with this, but either way, that explains the strategy. So you'd bring in the Cannonness for 200 and you can give her the Blessed Blade, and that should be exactly 250 points. So I would just sacrifice her next turn. Maybe I'd bring in some Penitent Engines. I don't think it's that desperate that I'd be bringing in double Penitent Engines yet. I think whilst you have a decent firing line like this, you don't really need to be doing that. I think actually some Seraphim with Inferno Pistols might be handy. But you got a lot of choices. You have Seraphim with Flamers, Seraphim with Inferno Pistols, you have double Penitent Engines, you have Celestians with Flamers that are pretty good, or obviously replace your Retributors. I like to have full cohesion. I can't remember if actually having a cohesive army throughout the whole thing actually gives you any more score. I don't think it does, so if you're just going for score, you're probably just going to be spamming Rhinos and Retributors, to be honest with you. Like, you wouldn't get the Immolators, you just get more Rhinos since they self-heal. But for the challenge, I think it's nice to go with the cohesive armies. But there you go. That's the general strategy for this build. I'll just get a couple of Penitent Engines, whatever. So then you proceed, and you see instantly the AI gets to attack straight away. So their units spawn in, and look, they move before you can. So you've got to be super careful when that second wave is coming in.
Targets moving outside our weapons
If
range.
you have your units really far down here meleeing skull cannons, they can just spawn in with 6 units here, run up and immediately start attacking you, and it's just horrendous. Potentially having wiped units just like that. So yeah, that's the basic guide. Hope you guys found that useful, and tell me, what were your maximum scores, and Do you think this kind of build makes sense? As I say, the only thing I'm a little bit dubious about here is the twin heavy bolters. But remember, obviously this build that I'm using is based on cohesion and having a cohesive army the whole time. That is all that you're going to get from me today. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Torpid signing out.